Hold on. All right, hold on. I got the wrong one. Here we go.
I think we're live, though.
Here we are. Well, we're live on Facebook, that's for sure. And we are live on Instagram as well. Oh, I should hide that pop filter. Welcome to First Chapter Fun. We have somebody watching, so that's great. I see you. Oh, yes, there we go. I see Al. Anissa has joined on Facebook, and I need you, Hank, to there we go. Gotcha. Go live. Here we are. We have Lee.
And there I am. Okay, on Instagram. Maybe on Instagram.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Hello, Merry Christmas.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear us. I hope you can see us. We're broadcasting. First of all, welcome to First Chapter Fun. This is episode 119, a very special one, with funny bells decorating Hank and funny ears decorating my head.
I'm basically decorated myself for the day.
Which is brilliant. Now we are on Instagram, as per usual. If anyone is not hearing Hank, say something, Hank.
Say Merry Christmas, ho, ho, ho. I hope everything is wonderful for you and all of your dreams come true. All of our dreams come true. I hope you can hear me on Instagram. Can you hear me on Instagram?
I hope so.
I see you there, Judith Collins. I see you, Cat Law. We're just experimenting live on whether this will work. So you're going to have to sort of put up with us in this situation.
Just for a minute. Yes, Jane says. Yes, fantastic. Yes, Jennifer Jones is here as well. Wonderful. And on Facebook. So on Facebook, we're broadcasting via StreamYard in not one, not two, but 3 different places. Yay! And the crowd goes wild. So we're broadcasting directly to the First Chapter Fun group, to Hank's author page, and to my author page. So if you are watching on Hank's author page or my author page on Facebook and you have not discovered or joined First Chapter Fun yet, don't do it right now. But afterwards, make sure you look for First Chapter Fun, because right now we are broadcasting on the 2 pages and in First Chapter Fun. And this is what we do every Tuesday and every Thursday. Hank, Phillippi, Ryan, and myself, Hannah Mary McKinnon, reading chapters from different books, not ours, twice a week at 12:30 p.m. But today we have a very special holiday edition.
It's wonderful. I'm so glad to see everybody joining in. It's Glennie is here, of course, and Helene and Maureen and Debbie and Karen Hoffman and Tanya, who's saying, and some Facebook user says, I love split screen, which, Hannah, reminds me that because we're using some newfangled contraption, although everything is a newfangled contraption, and I don't know how we're 5 places at one time, that's sort of existential, is saying we can't see, if you're on Facebook, sometimes we can't see your name. So just say, like I can see Deborah says it's working, but then Facebook user says, hello, Merry Christmas, everyone, and we don't know who that is. So we see the numbers ticking up and up and up, and we see you joining us like crazy for the First Chapter Fun First Christmas celebration, which is kind of sweet and kind of crazy. And here's Glennie glitter. Glennie has the glitter for Christmas. Sweet and kind of wonderful that you, Hannah, brought us here together in March, and now we are celebrating the holidays together, which is either fabulous or poignant or some of those words. I choose fabulous. I will choose fabulous.
Yes, all of the above. It's lovely. And it's funny how Thursday, we always read on Tuesday and Thursdays, and Thursday happens to be Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So we can't forget to say we have another special episode coming up on New Year's Eve that you have to join for, everyone. So it's been an odd year, that's for sure. It's been a very, very strange and difficult year for so many of us. But we're here, and this group has been for me, and I hope for our friends who are all watching, half an hour of just happiness twice a week, a little bubble where we can escape the craziness of the world.
mean, it's funny. I see Rena saying Merry Christmas, and Debbie is saying Good morning from Arizona, Merry Christmas Eve, and from West Virginia. And Margaret saying, I'll say fabulously poignant, Margaret says, and that's kind of great. It does show how readers and books and community can take something really terrible and at least make it into, I don't know, what's the Christmas version of lemonade? Eggnog.
Eggnog, maybe.
Something like that. So it's just great to see you, Hannah. And it's great to see everyone here, Judy Singer and Carrie and Linda and Tracy and Sharon and Dorian. I mean,
it's amazing. Mm-hmm. Amazing. We have David Bell has joined us on Instagram.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to read your book.
I know. Brackets, it may be featured on First Chapter Fun. Stick around and you'll find out.
And here's Jen Jumba, who decorated, which way am I pointing? This way, decorated my study with her wonderful handmade First Chapter Fun tea towel, which is now used as a set dressing for First Chapter Fun. What could be better than that?
Oh, it's wonderful. There's so many. Oh, Jessica says spiked eggnog is the equivalent of lemonade, which, or spiced cider. That works too. And we can, let me see it because I can do this. Haha, look at that.
Look at that.
Isn't that cool? First Chapter Fun has been very uplifting in times of minimal people contact. Yes, I agree. It really has. It's been it's just something I look forward to, whether I'm reading or whether you're reading. It's just, it's Tuesday, it's Thursday. It's just the clue's in the name, I guess. First Chapter Fun. That's really what it's all about.
And Jen is saying Hannah's is delayed. We'll send on 12/6, so we'll have so you have something wonderful to do. Have to come and tell us how she does it. It's so glorious and so perfect. And since she hurt her foot. So this is what she's learned to do. So again, she's made eggnog out of broken eggs. I don't know. I put this metaphor way too far today. And we're just off the rails. Here's Tessa Weggert, and who again we may hear from her. I'm sure we will. And Helene on First Chapter Fun.
Yes,
new and wonderful books.
It's amazing. Carla is one of the members one of the First Chapter Fun family, because that's really what it feels like. Yes. And Carla, I think, watched from the very first episode, I think, and has hardly missed any, which is amazing. Which reminds me, if this is the first time you're watching, and you haven't discovered First Chapter Fun yet, shocker, don't know where you've been. But all of the episodes, all of the 119 episodes are saved. So you can watch them either on Instagram in our IGTV, or you can watch them on Facebook, in the Facebook First Chapter Fun group under media, videos, and you'll find them all. I just want to do a sound check, making sure there's because we're broadcasting on both on our computers and our phones. I just want to make sure nobody's getting any feedback, because I do hear something small. I just want to make sure if anyone could pop a comment in on Instagram or on Facebook to make sure that that everything is fine, that you can hear us properly. That's really what I'm after. I hope so.
I don't hear any chaotic people saying, no, I can't hear you. And it seems fine. So I think we should go for it.
It's just me.
Carrie's saying reading has been my stress relief this year. Kimmer the book nerd, who we love, Kimberly Mussel, is saying, I look forward to every Tuesday and Thursday. And we do too, we do too. It's really become such a part of our lives here on Instagram and here on Facebook to get to know each other. It's great.
Yes, because we didn't know each other. Well, we met once very briefly at BoucherCon, and now we chat a lot.
I know, Hannah, this morning, Hannah was teaching me how to make raclette. They're this wonderful, you should talk about it, Christmas Eve dish of melted cheese, and it just sounds so exotically fantastic. And how would I know otherwise?
So it's a Swiss dish, which basically consists of cheese and potatoes. And we have a little oven with 8 little trays, rectangular trays, that you pop special raclette cheese on. And then put it in under this grill, if you like, that sits on the table, and you have boiled potatoes and you have pickles. We always have a beet salad, a sweet corn salad, and it's just a very slow meal. It's very European in the sense that you take your time to eat. And we add some bacon and stuff. So we've added on other stuff as we went along. I think Rob, my husband, who's Canadian, he had the idea of adding bacon. I mean, bacon, potatoes, and cheese. Come on, you know.
Bacon is good no matter what you add. It is great. Judith Collins is here on Instagram. That's great. And Glennie and Anissa and Debbie is saying, I love raclette.
She does, yes.
We were talking about how back in the 70s, we used to have fondue all the time. And that was just such a luxurious, luscious, convivial thing.
Yes. Same thing. Oh, look, we have Gabe. Gabe, say hi, Gabe. He says, hey, you need antlers.
I have a bell, Gabe. I have a bell, so you know I'm coming. I know this is the first time Hannah has shown us her real ears, you know, with her real antlers. So, and I love when you nod, when you nod, they move. It's really funny. It's really great. Hank needs antlers, Gabriel says. That is the first time I have ever heard those words in that order. I do not need antlers. So funny. And Tanya is saying that she found us on my page, Hannah. So welcome to fun, and make sure you join. We are so happy.
I love that. That's great. There we go. Let me get ready. We have lots and lots of people watching. It's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, so we're going to do things a little bit differently today. Normally what we do is we introduce the author. Well, we do have a bit of a do, which is what we've had. We introduce the author, we read their bio, that we introduce the book, and then we read the first chapter. But we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to tell you about Tuesday's book first, because we're going to be here on Tuesday, and then we are going to read or introduce you to today's author. So this is Tuesday's book, Sid Sanford Lives, by Daniel Ford. And we can't and we can't wait to bring this to you on Tuesday. This is going to be a fun read. So make sure, if you haven't joined First Chapter Fun before, that you join us at 12:30 again in the Facebook group, and of course also on Instagram, or both, as you wish. So that will be on Tuesday. So let's talk about today's author, shall we? Would you like to introduce them a little bit?
I'll begin to introduce today's author, and then you can pick it up in the middle.
Okay.
Ho, ho, ho. And welcome to today's First Chapter Fun. I'll tell you a little bit now about today's author. Charles Dickens, born February 7th, 1812, and died June 9th, 1870, was an English writer and social critic. He created some of the world's best-known fictional characters and is regarded by many as the greatest novelist of the Victorian era. His works enjoyed unprecedented popularity during his lifetime, and by the 20th century, critics and scholars had recognized him as a literary genius. His novels and short stories are still widely read today. Born in Portsmouth, Dickens left school to work in a factory when his father was incarcerated in a debtor's prison. Despite his lack of formal education, he edited a weekly journal for 20 years, wrote 15 novels, 5 novellas, hundreds of short stories and nonfiction articles, lectured and performed readings extensively, was an indefatigable letter writer, and campaigned vigorously for children's rights, education, and other social reforms. Dickens' literary success began with the 1836 publication of the Pickwick Papers. Within a few years, he had become an international literary celebrity, famous for his humor, satire, and keen observation of character and society. His novels, most of them published in monthly or weekly installments, pioneered the serial publication of narrative fiction, which became the dominant Victorian mode for novel publication.
Cliffhanger endings in his serial publications kept readers in suspense. The installment format allowed Dickens to evaluate his audience's reaction, and he often modified his plot and character development based on such feedback. His plots were carefully constructed, and he often wove elements from topical events into his narratives. Masses of the illiterate poor would individually pay a halfpenny to have each new monthly episode read to them, opening up and inspiring a new class of readers. His 1843 novella, A Christmas Carol, remains especially popular and continues to inspire adaptations in every artistic genre. Oliver Twist and Great Expectations are also frequently adapted and, like many of his novels, evoke images of early Victorian London. His 1859 novel, A Tale of Two Cities, set in London and Paris, is his best-known work of historical fiction. The most famous celebrity of his era, he undertook in response to public demand a series of public reading tours in the later part of his career. The term I knew I was going to stumble on that one. Dickensian is now used to describe something that is reminiscent of Dickens and his writings, such as poor social conditions or comically repulsive characters.
It's so great. Even Dickens went on book tour. Isn't that great? And do you know the movie, The Man Who Invented Christmas?
Yes. We'll see that.
This would be a really good time for everybody. Not right now. Not right now, but after our reading, this would be a good day to watch The Man Who Invented Christmas. So, of course, this is where we read the back cover copy. And today, here is the book we are reading from, not the whole first stave, but some of that. A Christmas Carol in Prose, being a ghost story of Christmas, commonly known as A Christmas Carol, is a novella by Charles Dickens, first published in London by Chapman and Hall in 1843, and now in the public domain. A Christmas Carol recounts the story of Ebenezer Scrooge, an elderly miser who is visited by the ghost of his former business partner, Jacob Marley, and the spirits of Christmas past, present, and yet to come. After their visits, Scrooge is transformed into a kinder, gentler man. Dickens wrote A Christmas Carol during a period when the British were exploring and reevaluating past Christmas traditions, such as carols, and newer traditions, such as Christmas trees. Dickens had written 3 Christmas stories prior to the novella and was inspired following a visit to the Field Lane Ragged School, one of several establishments for London's street children. The treatment of the poor and the ability of a selfish man to redeem himself by transforming into a more sympathetic character are the key themes of the story.
Published on December 19th, 1843, the first edition sold out by Christmas Eve. That's the stuff of dreams, isn't it? By the end of 1844, 13 editions had been released. Most critics reviewed the novella favourably. The story was illicitly copied in January 1844. Dickens took legal action against the publishers who went bankrupt, further reducing Dickens' small profits from the publication. He went on to write 4 other Christmas stories in subsequent years. In 1849, he began public readings of the story, which proved so successful he undertook 127 further performances until 1870, the year of his death. A Christmas Carol has never been out of print and has been translated into several languages. The story has been adapted many times for film, stage, opera, and other media. A Christmas Carol captured the zeitgeist of the mid-Victorian revival of the Christmas holiday. Dickens had acknowledged the influence of the modern Western observance of Christmas and later inspired several aspects of Christmas, including family gatherings, seasonal food and drink, dancing, games, and a festive generosity of spirit. And now, here is part of the first chapter of A Christmas Carol.
And now, of course, Hannah, I'm hearing it a little echoey, and I can't figure out why. Is anybody else hearing any echoey? Are you hearing that, Hannah?
I don't have an echo, no. I was when I was speaking just, but not anymore. It's gone again.
No, it's gone again. All right. So here is the Ghost of Christmas Zoom or something like that. There's the Ghost of Christmas Zoom. So here is part of stave 1 of A Christmas Carol, entitled Marley's Ghost. Marley was dead to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was dead as a doornail. Mind, I don't mean to say that I know of my own knowledge what there is particularly dead about a doornail. I might have been inclined myself to regard a coffin nail as the deadliest piece of ironmongery in the trade. But the wisdom of our ancestors is in the simile, and in my unhallowed hands shall not disturb it, or the country's done for. You will therefore permit me to repeat emphatically that Marley was dead as a doornail. Scrooge knew he was dead? Of course he did. How could it be otherwise? Scrooge and he were partners for I don't know how many years. Scrooge was his sole executor, his sole administrator, his sole assign, his sole residuary legatee, his sole friend, and sole mourner. And even Scrooge was not so dreadfully cut up by the sad event, but that he was an excellent man of business on the very day of the funeral, and solemnized it with an undoubted bargain. The mention of Marley's funeral brings me back to the point I started from. There is no doubt that Marley was dead. This must be distinctly understood, or nothing wonderful can come of the story I am going to relate. If we were not perfectly convinced that Hamlet's father died before the play began, there would be nothing more remarkable in his taking a stroll at night in an easterly wind upon his own ramparts than there would be in any other middle-aged gentleman rashly turning out after dark in a breezy spot, say St. Paul's churchyard, for instance, literally to astonish his son's weak mind. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name. There it stood years afterward above the warehouse door, Scrooge and Marley. The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley. Sometimes people new to the business called Scrooge Scrooge and sometimes Marley, but he answered to both names. It was all the same to him. Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, Scrooge, a squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. Hard and sharp as flint, from which no steel had ever struck out generous fire, secret and self-contained and solitary as an oyster. The cold within him froze his old features, nipped his pointed nose, shriveled his cheeks, stiffened his gait, made his eyes red, his thin lips blue, and spoke out shrewdly in his grating voice. A frosty rime was on his head and on his eyebrows and his wiry chin. He carried his own low temperature always about with him. He iced his coffee in the dog days and didn't thaw it 1 degree at Christmas. External heat and cold had little influence on Scrooge. No warmth could warm, nor wintry weather chill him. No wind that blew was bitterer than he. No falling snow was more intent upon its purpose. No pelting rain less open to entreaty. Foul weather didn't know where to have him. The heaviest rain and snow and hail and sleet could boast of no advantage over him in one respect only. They often came down handsomely, and Scrooge never did. Nobody ever stopped him in the street to say with gladsome looks, "My dear Scrooge, how are you? When will you come to see me?" No beggars implored him to bestow a trifle. No children asked him what it was o'clock. No man or woman ever once in his life inquired the way to such and such a place of Scrooge. Even the blind men's dogs appeared to know him, and when they saw him coming on, would tug their owners into doorways and up courts, and then would wag their tails as though they said, "No eye is at all is better than an evil eye, dark master." But what did Scrooge care? It was the very thing he liked. To edge his way along the crowded path of life, warning all human sympathy to keep its distance, that was what the knowing ones call nuts to Scrooge. Once upon a time, of all the good days in the year on Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house. It was cold, bleak, biting weather, foggy withal, and he could hear the people in the court go wheezing up and down, beating their hands upon their breasts and stamping their feet upon the pavement stones to warm them. The city clocks had only just gone 3, but it was quite dark already. It had not been light all day, and candles were flaring in the windows of the neighboring offices like ruddy smears upon the palpable brown air. The fog came pouring in at every chink and keyhole, and was so dense without that although the court was of the narrowest, the houses opposite were mere phantoms. To see the dingy cloud come drooping down, obscuring everything, one might have thought that nature lived hard by and was brewing on a large scale.
The door of Scrooge's counting house was open, that he might keep his eye upon his clerk, who in a dismal little cell beyond, a sort of tank, was copying letters. Scrooge had a very small fire, but the clerk's fire was so very much smaller that it looked like one coal. But he couldn't replenish it, for Scrooge kept the coal box in his own room, and so surely as the clerk came in with the shovel, the master predicted that it would be necessary for them to part. Wherefore the clerk put on his white comforter and tried to warm himself at the candle, in which effort, not being a man of a strong imagination, he failed. "A Merry Christmas, Uncle! God save you!" cried a cheerful voice. It was the voice of Scrooge's nephew, who came upon him so quickly that this was the first intimation he had of his approach. "Bah!" said Scrooge. "Humbug!" He had so heated himself with rapid walking in the fog and frost, this nephew of Scrooge's, that he was all in a glow. His face was ruddy and handsome, his eyes sparkled, and his breath smoked again. "Christmas a humbug, Uncle," said Scrooge's nephew. "You don't mean that, I'm sure." "I do," said Scrooge. "Merry Christmas! What right have you to be merry? What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough." "Come then," returned the nephew gaily. "What right have you to be dismal? What reason have you to be morose? You're rich enough." Scrooge, having no better answer ready on the spur of the moment, said "Bah!" again, and followed it up with "Humbug." "Don't be cross, Uncle," said the nephew. "What else can I be?" returned the uncle, "when I live in such a world of fools as this? Merry Christmas! Out upon Merry Christmas! What's Christmas time to you but a time for paying bills without money, a time for finding yourself a year older, but not an hour richer, a time for balancing your books and having every item in them through a round of dozen months presented dead against you? If I could work my will," said Scrooge indignantly, "every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and be buried with a stake of holly through his heart. He should." "Uncle," pleaded the nephew. "Nephew," returned the uncle sternly, "keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine." "Keep it?" repeated Scrooge's nephew. "But you don't get to keep it." "Let me leave it alone then," said Scrooge. "Much good may it do you, much good it has ever done you." "There are many things from which I might have derived good, by which I have not profited, I dare say," returned the nephew, "Christmas among the rest. But I'm sure I have always thought of Christmas time, when it has come around, apart from the veneration due to its sacred named origin, if anything belonging to it can be apart from that, as good as time, as a good time, a kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. The only time I know of in the long calendar of the year when men and women seem by one consent to open their shut-up hearts freely and to think of people below them as if they really were fellow passengers to the grave, and not another race of creatures bound on other journeys. And therefore, uncle, though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe that it has done me good and will do me good, and I say God bless it. The clerk in the tank involuntarily applauded, becoming immediately sensible of the impropriety. He poked the fire and extinguished the last frail spark forever. "Let me hear another sound from you," said Scrooge, "and you'll keep your Christmas by losing your situation. You're quite a powerful speaker, sir," he added, turning to his nephew. "I wonder you don't go into Parliament." "Don't be angry, uncle. Come, dine with us tomorrow." Scrooge said that he would see him. Yes, indeed he did. He went the whole length of the expression and said that he would see him in that extremity first. "But why?" cried Scrooge's nephew. "Why?" "Why did you get married?" said Scrooge. "Because I fell in love." "Because you fell in love?" growled Scrooge, as if that were the only one thing in the world more ridiculous than a Merry Christmas. "Good afternoon." "Nay, uncle, but you never came to see me before that happened. Why give it as a reason for not coming now?" "Good afternoon," said Scrooge. "I want nothing from you. I ask nothing of you. Why cannot we be friends?" "Good afternoon," said Scrooge. "I am sorry with all my heart to find you so resolute. We have never had any quarrel to which I have been a party, but I have made the trial in homage to Christmas, and I'll keep my Christmas humour to the last. So, a Merry Christmas, uncle." "Good afternoon," said Scrooge, "and a Happy New Year." "Good afternoon," said Scrooge.
I'll never hear this without Hannah as Scrooge. That is the most perfect thing I have ever heard. So now you all, and isn't it just beautifully written? I mean, it's beautifully written. I mean, as a grown-up reading this, it's so different than hearing it as a child. You know, you just really recognize what a glorious writer. I have to tell you that Carrie says, my 7-year-old just asked, "Are they reading A Christmas Carol?" And that just really brings tears to my eyes.
I'm impressed.
Wonderful. So let me just say, Hannah and I decided that you know the story, and you should read it again. It is fabulous how Scrooge is visited by the ghost of Christmas past and present, and the Christmas to be, the Christmas to come, and learns something and is changed. But we really want you to hear the very end. So we will now share the end of A Christmas Carol. After Scrooge changes. Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the good old city knew, or any other good old city, town, or borough in the good old world. Some people laughed to see the alteration in him, but he let them laugh and little heeded them, for he was wise enough to know that nothing ever happened on the globe for good at which some people did not have their fill of laughter at the outset. And knowing that such as these would be blind anyway, he thought it was quite as well they should wrinkle up their eyes in grins as have the malady in less attractive forms. His own heart laughed, and that was quite enough for him.
He had no further intercourse with spirits, but lived upon the total abstinence principle ever afterwards, and it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. May that be truly said of us, and all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone. The end.
Hannah, I'm just really crying. I'm so sorry. it's just been such a terrible year in so many ways. And to hear this like that, and from you and knowing all of you, and just to God bless us everyone and better days ahead.
It has been one heck of a year, that's for sure. So I'm getting tons of feedback.
This is the ghost of Christmas everything in coming to be with us, as all of you are here with us this afternoon. So in the spirit of the holidays and in the spirit of all of you, Susan and Carrie and Michelle and Glennie and Lisa and Sylvia and Pugs and Pages and Diane and Sarah, Anissa says it the best, and Dickens too. God bless us, everyone. And till then,
as always, please, until Tuesday, because we'll be here again, you know we will. Stay safe, stay kind, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever it is you celebrate. Hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful time, and we'll see you on Tuesday. Thanks for watching.